Hi, welcome to this video where we are going to take a look at Toxapex in the current competitive Open Great League meta. It's very new, it's brand new, and it's actually going to be allowed in the first upcoming regional, which is basically like 3 days off its release, 3 or 4 days. So Toxapex is a very unique Pokemon. It has the same typing as like Tentacruel and Quillfish, but it's extremely bulky. Think of Umbreon bulky, right? It's even bulkier than Lickitung and Azumarill. The things that mainly beat Toxapex in the current meta are like Swampert, G-Fisk, Registeel, Cofagrigus, Sableye, basically Ghosts, Ground, and Steel types. Obviously, there's also like exceptions such as what's called Trevenant. Trevenant generally doesn't beat Toxapex. Toxapex itself beats fighters, with exception to Medicham. Medicham, it does beat Medicham, but Medicham has some play because of Psychic. It beats fire types with the exception of Alolan Marowak, which actually has surprisingly good play here, despite having resisted fire spins. And it annihilates fairies. An Azumarill with 100 energy and 2 shoots up cannot beat Toxapex. You thought Tentacruel was good? This thing's even better. Against everything else, it has very good general or neutral play, like an Altaria. It can beat Altaria quite comfortably, actually. Other than that, yes, it has a poison typing that hits grass for super effective, but the grass types in the current meta also have a poison resisting. So, like Venusaur with the poison typing resists poison. So it's neutral, right? Grass plus poison is neutral against poison, and Trevenant also neutralizes it with its ghost defensive typing. So the team we're going to take a look at today is from Triptando. He is using quite the meta line here in Lickitung, Medicore, probably the best one, an Altaria, G-Fisk core, and then he has a Sableye and Toxapex, which isn't really a core, but it's good. This team, triple weak to charm, but also Toxapex is with this bulk with poison jab currently is the hardest charm answer in the game, even better than Registeel and G-Fisk. Actually, maybe Scissor might be barely better, or not with its low bulk. Whatever, you get the point. Let's take a look at the first matchup against Gyarados Boy, who is also Dutch. We have two Dutches against each other here, and Gyarados Boy is running some old, like a previous season meta team here that's still very good. Walrein Nidoqueen core is like only broken by G-Fisk. Walrein Trev core only really broken by Obstagoon Scrafty. There's also Registeel on it, which is a core breaker for Triptando's team, a massive core breaker for Lickitung, Altaria, and Toxapex is one of the hardest counters to Toxapex. And there's also a Swampert to counter Toxapex. Triptando only has Altaria really to hard answer it. And he might bring that. It's only really bad against the Walrein. It has some play against Registeel. Let's take a look at a battle. We're gonna showcase one battle per set of 3. So looks like Triptando leads into the Shadow Nidoqueen here. You win the 0 shields here only, I believe. Maybe the 1 shields can get really close. But generally, Nidoqueen just debuffs. The poison jabs will add up, and Lickitung will go down there. Usually, most Nidoqueens tend to shield here, but looks like Gyarados Boy is letting his Nidoqueen get pretty low. Unleashes the next Poison Fang here that will not KO, and Triptando gets to the next Body Slam. This will take out Nidoqueen, so despite winning basically almost everything with shields down, Nidoqueen doesn't beat that much, even in neutral situations. Out comes Swampert, which is kind of terrible for Triptando here, because he doesn't have his Altaria with him. And at this point, it looks like that Toxapex doesn't have much play here. It's not great against Nidoqueen either, because Nidoqueen double resists poison jabs. On the other hand, 2 Bryans will take out a Nidoqueen, so it has some play there, but it's not your favorite one as Toxapex. Yeah, Triptando has to shoot here, and in the back is a Walrein. So this is actually gonna be an interesting matchup because Toxapex resists ice, but takes super effective from Earthquake. Now this is a non-stab Earthquake from a pretty bulky Pokemon. but looks like Triptando is going to shield up that Earthquake, which would do, I would assume, about 50% to Toxapex. That's how bulky it really is. So he might have wanted to keep the shield for the Swampert's Earthquake. That is, if it's running Earthquake. Because if Swampert doesn't run Earthquake, it actually doesn't do that great against Toxapex. But as you can see, even super effective Mudshells add up here. If this is an Earthquake, it likely will KO the Toxapex despite its very high bulk. And it does take it out. And at this point, it's a race to the move, but Swampert is faster. And that takes out this Sableye. So, not that much Toxapex action there, but it's decent against Walrein. It really is. Walrein already has been a little bit nerfed, so it's kind of dead already in competitive play. Even though I still think it's decent. But Toxapex does good there. Let's take a look at matchup number 2. Triptando against the Nut 93. One of the best, I'm going to say former battlers, German battlers. He definitely has it, but he hasn't played competitive in a while, so we'll see how he does. He's looks like he's trying out some new stuff in Jumpluff, Toxapex, and Runerigus. He runs Shadow Swampert as well. One saying that I have, Germans always run Swampert. Dancing Rob, Leandro, Stone Collection, Stone Collection switches Samurott nowadays, but they always run Swampert. And we see it here again. Triptando really only has the Altaria for it too. Lickitun's kind of scary to bring always when there's a Scrafty on the opposing team, which I think is very smart by the Nut because Lickitung destroys Runerigus. That's why I'm not that big of a fan of it, even though I like the typing and that it breaks Basti Medicore. I think it's more of a GBL Pokemon. Let's take a look at the first battle here. We got Lickitung into Toxapex from the Nut. Let's see how this one goes. This is a very neutral matchup. I would think that Toxapex takes this. It probably takes this because Stab, Poison Jab does more. Sludge Wave is a pretty decent move. On the other hand, though, getting to those moves takes pretty long. The Sludge Wave does go through. It doesn't do that much. That's because we have two bulk monsters here. The Body Slams don't do much. The Licks don't do much. The Poison Jabs don't do much. Nothing does a lot here. But it looks like Toxapex takes this Omega comfortably. Oh, actually, the Nut goes for a Brine here. So the other charge move it has is Brine, and Brine is very bad. It's a very bad move. It's about, I believe, 50 energy for 60 damage. This is terrible. Triptando swaps into his Toxapex once he gets a shield advantage, and I think with a shield up, Toxapex can actually take this. Although those Mudshells are adding up, you kind of have to call a bait or not here. He's calling it, and it is the Hydro, which does nothing. Shadow Swampert's Hydro, pah, pah. Does nothing, and in comes that Earthquake. Well, that kills an entire generation of these things, and then looks like Triptando is able to counter down this this Swampert. Then has a Psychic, which he CMPs on the Toxapex, and I think the Nut 93 is not very good against his Medicham. He's not very happy to see it. It might be Scrafty or Walrein in the back. You can get a lot of farm here as Medicham. The counters don't do anything here, really. That shows really the bulk of Toxapex there. And then the Nut 93 swaps in his Walrein, probably recognizing he's going to get farmed all the way down. And that is probably over because 2 Psychics plus a few counters will take out this Walrein here. Toxapex, if people are afraid of it or taking it into account, really makes Medicham even more meta again. And I think in that regard, maybe Sableye becomes better again as well, right? Because it can take on both of those. So yeah, interesting matchup there. No Runerigus from the Nut there, but we did see some double Toxapex action there. Let's take a look at matchup number 3, Triptando versus Roach Mindless. And they kind of run a bit of a similar team, right? Altaria, G-Fiskor, Medi, Lickicore on both sides, and there's also a Toxapex, so we're gonna see more of those. Yeah, what is there to say? It's gonna be very neutral here. Maybe a little bit of RPS included as well. I would definitely expect Lickitungs on both sides here. But we also see 2 Toxapexes here. And it looks like Triptando decides to go into his Sableye just right away. This is a decent matchup for Sableye, but with that 1 turn advantage for the Toxapex, Triptando didn't throw his foul play immediately, so he didn't catch up there. This is actually very, very close because 2 foul plays are not going to take it out. And I believe, yeah, so because you missed that one Shadow Claw, you do not CMP on a potential return. This is a foul play and the Toxapex will comfortably survive that. The Brine, however, with some jabs, might actually almost take out this Sableye. It's not a strong move. The poison jabs are resisted. Sableye has a little bit of energy, and look how close the 0 shields are here with just 1 turn advantage on Toxapex. That's crazy. Almost all resisted damage on Sableye and almost takes that matchup in the 0 shields. Really good stuff. And then in comes the Altaria onto the Toxapex, which has a shield advantage. And now we're going to see how good Toxapex is against an Altaria. This is actually a very neutral matchup. But Toxapex is very bulky here. And that Sludge Wave does add up on the Altaria. Skytech's gonna come through. And that doesn't do anything on Toxapex. It's just chilling there. Gonna get to another Sludge Wave. Easy. It's actually a very dominant performance from both Toxapex on each side. And this Medicham is not even going to be able to counter this down. It has to throw a move. But Triptando decides to go for that Brine as soon as he gets there. This doesn't do much or any damage at all. Yeah, it does like, what, 20% or so. But it's a nice chip. Now this Medicham will be in Psychic range with some counters. So Toxapex on both sides putting in a lot of value there. But honestly though, he definitely should have swapped in the Altaria into that Sableye because it has a pretty decent matchup there. On the other hand, though, then he doesn't have anything to answer opposing Toxapex. The Toxapex mirror is probably one of the most boring ones because both Toxapex resist poison. So, yeah. Good thing Triptando saved us that trouble. Let's take a look at the last matchup here. Triptando versus Welland. 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, a pretty similar line in a Medi, Licky Core, a Steel, Altaria Core, this time Registeel, which is a big problem for Triptando. And the opponent also has a Tapu Fini, which is food, delicious for the Toxapex. It wins every scenario. Tapu Fini can do nothing against Toxapex. If you have an Azumi or Tapu Fini on your line and you see a Toxapex on the other side, you need to be careful. You need to be very careful. Let's take a look at this battle here. He leads Sableye into Tapu Fini. And looking at that G-Fisk in the back there, this is probably kind of where you want it. Sableye takes his matchup in the 2 shield straight foul play. So that's basically what you want to do here if you want to play it really safe. 2 foul plays will also KO. And you will outpace to the foul plays. The Shadow Claws add up really nice as well. He does have the Toxapex and tries to catch a move on it, but it doesn't happen. And in the back is the Registeel, the hardest answer to Toxapex, and we're now not going to see Toxapex being dominant. We're gonna get to see it crushed. I think that's also good to see, right? How are you going to handle it? How much is a Zap Cannon gonna do? Can we farm down after? I don't know. I don't know. Let's find out. Ooh, well, it's good to know. It's good to know. It's good to know. So you can't Zap Cannon and farm down. That's gonna take way too long. It has a lot of HP. That's kind of unfortunate as Registeel, but also as Registeel, look at with how much HP you come out of this matchup. It's actually crazy. I think you can farm down if you are fine with taking 1 or 2 more Brines. Opponent decides to Focus Blast and even undercharge us just a little bit. And then swaps into the Tapu Fini, immediately pressuring the Sableye so much. And you cannot let the Sableye go because G-Fist stands no chance against this with shields down. He's only 1 shield down though, so maybe. If there's an Altaria in the back from Welland, there might be play for Triptando here, but that seems to be a little bit unlikely. Let's the Tapu Fini go, and in the back is their own Sableye. That's a difficult one, really. It does get shielded, but 1 Earthquake does not do it, including the Mud Shots. So this is kind of an uphill battle for Triptando. The opponent also still has Halver Registeel, which he has to throw an Earthquake in. And the opponent is counting perfectly here, so tries to catch that Earthquake. I think your only play here is to massively undercharge and hopefully get to an Earthquake and a Rock Slide against Sableye. But again, you're playing against the clock here. You don't have much HP left. This will get the G-Fisk very low. If it's a bad IV one, might even take it out. Highly doubt it though. Yeah, it almost takes it out. Almost takes it out. And I think Triptando has a pretty good G-Fisk there. But yeah, he's probably a few Mudshells off. Yeah, he needs like 3 more Mudshells there. That had to be a perfect on the charge to maybe get there, and hope that Reggie doesn't. So yeah, that was a pretty good Toxapex showcase. I think a short one. We had a small tournament, only 4 rounds, but on the other hand, it really gives us some insight on how it works and how badly it gets destroyed by a Registeel. As a Toxapex user, you have to avoid Skarmories, G-Fisks, Registeels. I would say normal Swampert Shadow might be more manageable. And as Toxapex user, it's really nice against Charmers. Altaria's pretty safe, Umbreon's pretty safe, Lickitung is pretty safe, Medicham is pretty nice to deal with. It has a lot of general play, so I think it's a decent pick. I don't think it breaks up the meta completely, but it's a nice addition. I hope you liked the video and have a good one.